I want to give a big shout out to all my patrons, my Wildlings, my Night's Watch, and my high tier patrons, my Kingsguard, which include Brendan, Scott, Oscar, Stuart, Pat, Ikaika, Amanda, Navi, Shad, and Nicoletta. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. Welcome back to the Fantasy Network, everyone. My name is, of course, Jimmy Nuts, and today we'll be reviewing Fool's Quest, Book 2 in the Fitz in the Fool trilogy by Robin Hobb, and I'm pretty excited to talk about it because I really love this book. But before I do that, I want to talk to all my Malazan fans out there. Yes, my Gardens of the Moon review was a big hit, apparently, among people who have not visited my channel before. I want to thank everyone for the support on that video, but I want to announce that this Wednesday, August 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Rhythma and Philip Chase will be joining me here on the channel for a Gardens of the Moon spoiler talk / discussion, and there's a lot to talk about, so I'm pumped for that. Again, that's this Wednesday, August 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I look forward to seeing you there, and I'm pretty pumped up. With the announcements out of the way, let's talk about Book 2 in the Fitz in the Fool trilogy. Robin Hobb has been excellent for me and my track record with her on Book 2s. I think, of course, Book 2s always have some sort of bridging element to get to our final entry in a trilogy, but Robin Hobb always seems to give me something a little bit extra, whether it's a little bit of tweaking of the tone of the trilogy or maybe putting characters in a different position than we thought they would be after Book 1. But I think she writes exceptional Book 2s. I mean, Royal Assassin is one of my favorite books of all time. I also thought Golden Fool was very good in The Mad Ship as well. This is probably my second favorite book too, after Royal Assassin, and I think Fool's Quest delivers on some really big series, like overarching series-defining moments, and it was a big hit. And I think a quote from this book actually sums up the tone of this second entry in this trilogy quite well. "Sorrow and loss never die. We can put them away in a chest and lock it tight, but whenever it is opened, even a crack, the aroma of lost sweetness will rise to fill our lungs with heaviness." That is Robin Hobb, man. That is some of her best work right there. And I think that quote really does define what this book 2 is all about, especially in the precarious position we found ourselves in after Fool's Assassin. Fool's Quest is a book about making mistakes. It's about facing our failures. I think in really the trilogy overall, but specifically here in Book 2, it's about facing guilt. But not just facing guilt, but also processing it and figuring out how to move on and accept these shortcomings. Robin Hobb is the queen of consequences in her stories, a hero's journey or whatever you might want to call it. All these actions do have consequences. It's been a theme throughout all of Realm of the Elderlings. And it's something that we don't see a lot of, is the guilt that comes with some of these major decisions that affect a lot of different people. And Fool's Quest is Fitz facing guilt at its most peak form. I mean, I also think it's weird because he's facing his guilt and processing it, but he also has to face the fact that not everything is his fault. He's a little self-absorbed in that manner. And he has to face congratulations for some of the stuff that he did previously in other series in Realm of the Elderlings. And that is also very hard for him to process as well. And if you thought any of the relationships in Realm of the Elderlings would stagnate here in Fool's Quest, they absolutely do not, especially with Chade. Fitz accepts the fact that Chade has used him and has manipulated him. But it's so real because even with all of that said, Fitz still wants Chade's acceptance and approval. He can't help it. And that's a very real thing. Relying on people's acceptance that maybe we should not care so much about, or people that have hurt us in the past and we can't help but want to make them happy. It's a complicated thing, and I think it's very real, and I think Hobb captured it really well in Fool's Quest. Fitz's relationship with the Fool, as always, just dripping in drama and feeling. Their conversations in this book are among their best in the entire series, in my opinion, even up there with Fool's Fate, which is a high reward in my book. But it's just, like I said, it's just doused in feeling. And the Fool, still to this point in this series, is a must-read character. He's never been on a page in any of these books to where I could look away. And it continues in Fool's Quest. I think the Fool is the most intriguing character in the entire fantasy genre. Anytime Fitz and the Fool would have a conversation, my eyes were just glued to the page. And a little bit of a tidbit mode here for all my Song of Ice and Fire fans. There's a crow that's squawking Fitz's name, and it reminded me of Mormont's Raven squawking at Jon Snow at Castle Black. And I'm sure it wasn't on purpose or anything, but it's just like a little thing. It's like, there's another similarity between the two series that I happen to love the most. And the crow does have a name. The crow's name's Motley, and we get that name right around the same time that we get Fitz coming home. And you'll know what I mean when you read this book about what I mean when I say Fitz is coming home. But the buildup and the anticipation for that moment is among some of the best in this entire series. I'm saying a best in the series a lot here. Do you notice this? Fool's Quest, for some reason, is not mentioned along with Fool's Assassin or Fool's Errand or Fool's Fate or Assassin's Fate or Royal. So any of the other books, like I don't hear about Fool's Quest enough. There's a lot of best in series moments in this book. So I'm on team, let's fawn over Fool's Quest a little bit more here, folks, okay? Because these are series defining moments, and the inspection of the way Fitz and the Fool are intertwined as a being, and I don't just mean a friendship or relationship, I mean literally their souls are intertwined, is examined here and inspected and explained in a lot more detail. And without this book, a lot of the stuff that happens in book 3 would not be nearly as good. And I kind of talked about how Fitz has to come to gripes with guilt and also success. But he also has to think about who he has been to so many people. And there's a beautiful moment in this book, and I don't consider this a spoiler, but he's sitting at a high table and he is almost melancholy at the fact that he looks around at all of these people he's known for decades. And to each one of them, he's been something different. And is there anything more relatable in life, folks? Whenever you think back and you think about who you were to the people around you, and you think about your history with certain groups of people or even individuals, and you realize that's kind of what we do as human beings. We are different things to different people, and a lot of the times it's based on how much of ourselves we're willing to give or who we think we need to be in that moment. Fitz embodies that here. Robin Hobb did an excellent job of exploring that. And I know I'm just gushing, I guess. Yeah, this is a gush review. I guess. But as you can see, this is very introspective for me. And I imagine for a lot of you that are watching this that have read this book. And if you haven't, I think you'll find a lot of value in that. But whenever Fitz is looking at the crowd and mulling over all these people he knows and his relationships and the roles that he's played, it makes you wonder if Fitz really knows who he is. And I say melancholy, there's some happy moments, series defining moments. There's some brutal moments in Fool's Quest, like among the grimmest. You know, there's always people saying, hey, is Realm of the Elderlings grimdark? There's a chapter in this book called Red Snow that is, without a doubt, classified as grimdark for me. And I don't really actually care if someone refers to this as grimdark or not. I'm not super big on the labels as it is. But man, Red Snow was a tone changer in this book. And it was really, really brutal. Like, some of these chapters are so heavy, I felt like I had an anvil on my chest. Do you know what I'm saying? And then also on top of that, we're going through these really grim moments, these big defining moments. Like, sometimes you're just so exhausted while you're reading this, and it makes you kind of think. Fitz still has to do monotonous duties in this book. He still has to go do his job, per se. And it reminds me of, like, in real life, and I'm sure that you can relate to this watching this. You have a big moment, maybe it was a breakup when you were younger, or a death in the family, or something, something that has really tore you down or exhausted you. And you're in this mental state of trying to process all this stuff that's happened that's been so unfortunate, and then you're still expected to go to your 9 to 5. Like, you're still expected to go to work or be a mom or be a dad or be a brother or sister or a son or a daughter, whatever. Like, there's still like those monotonous tasks that you have to complete during your day as someone that's part of society that has responsibilities. And it's like there's not a lot of consideration for just how much mental turmoil you're going through. And Fitz goes through that here. We all know he's in a pretty bad spot in Fool's Quest after you read Fool's Assassin, but he's still expected to do his duties at court and other things like that. And I don't know, it made me think back of all the times that, like, maybe I was heartbroken and I still had to go, whip computers at Best Buy part-time whenever I felt like I could barely get out of bed. And again, Hobb makes that super relatable. There was an oh my god moment with a glove and Dwalia. I'll leave it at that because it's spoiler-free. We'll talk about it in the spoiler discussion that we're going to have for the Fitz and the Fool trilogy down the line after I get my last spoiler-free review off for Assassin's Fate. But just look out for the glove, Dwalia's glove. There is a specific little detail there that is like, holy shit. Some of the callbacks we get back to, such people as Verity in this book, and thinking about the impact that he made on Fitz and other people, really good. I think Kettrikin and Fitz have some absolutely awe-inspiring moments that are heartbreaking yet heartwarming. I love whenever they were on page together in this. There's not a lot to complain about. If I had to give out cons, there's two. I think that there's a little bit too much reiteration here, which Hobb always does,
but I thought she was really egregious about it in Rainwild Chronicles, and I thought in book 2 here, she went a little bit too much on reiterating information that we already knew, or I felt like 2 characters would actually know already and they were still talking about it, which is that's always a little bit awkward. And then I didn't necessarily feel the information that was restricted about a certain little girl in the story. I'm just going to say it. It's B. So there's information about B and what's happened to her that is not relayed properly. And it's like shrouded in just mystery of no one knowing. And I felt like it went on a little long. And I don't know if I believe the fact that that information wouldn't have been exchanged with Fitz sooner than it was. I'm nitpicking, but I'm just saying it kind of felt like a little bit of a plot convenience here, which is fine, but it's just something Hobb doesn't usually do. But again, that's pretty minor. And the ending of Fool's Quest was superb. Absolutely superb. It kind of reminded me of how I felt at the end of The Mad Ship, where I felt like major things were about to happen. Like, oh my God, this last book is going to be full throttle. And the drama is just at an all-time high. Love the ending of this book. Best ending to a book 2 other than Royal Assassin, of course. As you know, that's like probably my favorite ending possibly of any book 2 ever, and maybe any book ever. But the ending is just absolutely tremendous. So yeah, I absolutely adored this book. Just a lot. As you can tell, this is not so much like, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, this happened. But like slow realizations of the impact of decisions that were made thousands of pages ago coming to the forefront here for Fitz and all of our other characters. And I'm still questioning Chade's motives. I'm wondering if he's faking a certain ailment here. There's a certain annoying little girl that's blossomed into a wonderful adult woman, almost a queen of sorts that the Fool gives a funny quote about. What is it? It says right here, it's the most annoying young woman I have ever met, but lovely too. And I'm not going to say who it is, but I think most of you could probably guess. And I just, I love that quote. It was too good. So yeah, I had a grand old time with Fool's Quest. Fool's Quest is absolutely a 5 out of 5. I thought it was a tremendous book and couldn't have set up the final book any better. I'll have that review out within probably about a week or 2, and then we're going to do a spoiler discussion for this whole final trilogy and the Realm of the Elderlings as a whole. I'm going to continue making Realm of the Elderling content. I'm going to do some rankings of the books in the series, maybe even characters. I'm a little apprehensive to do that because I don't want to pick between all my favorites. But there's still going to be more Realm of the Elderlings content. I'd like to make why you should read for all the people who have not, and I've even thought, and if you like this idea, please tell me down in the comments. I've been thinking about maybe doing a Q&A that's spoiler-free for people who have not read any Robin Hobb but have questions about it. Because this is a series that's not for everyone. But I would love to address readers who have no exposure to it but have questions about the series. And then all of you have been so wonderful in the chat. I know a lot of you would show up and be able to encourage new readers. So let me know if you think that's a good idea. I'm not sure. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Let me know what you think of the setup as well down in the comments. And let me know your thoughts on Fool's Quest. Try to keep spoilers out of it so you don't ruin it for other people. But if you do, just put a bunch of spaces at the below and say spoilers. Give us a tag. But if you like this video, hit like and subscribe. I'm pretty sure most of you watching this will be, since you've been on with me through this whole journey. And we have one spoiler-free review left. Are you ready? Because it's going to be a good one. Hey, thanks again for watching. I hope you're good. I hope you're safe. And until I see you next time, remember to always keep turning the page.